Hello Year 7. I would like you to have a go at these starter questions, please. You can see 9 questions. I'd like you to do them in your head with no calculator, please, and write your answers down on a piece of paper. Number them 1 to 9 and write your answers really clearly. Please pause the video while you do this, as I then am going to go on to give you the answers. After you've got your answers, I'd like you to add them all up to find the total, and then play the rest of the video to mark your work. We'll go through the answers, and then I'm going to give you another set of questions that I'd like you to have a go at to test your understanding. Okay, please pause your video. Okay, you can press play. Right, okay, so what I'd like you to do, if you haven't done so already, I would like you to add up all of your answers, please. And then I want you to look at the total of your answers. That means you get all of your answers and add them up. So, I'm not going to tell you the total yet, but is your answer bigger than 50? If it is, that's good. Is your answer even? I hope so. Is your answer a multiple of 4? To test this, you could cut it in half and half again, and if your answer is a whole number, then yes, it is a multiple of 4. Is your answer a multiple of 10? I hope so. And is your answer a multiple of 40? If so, you will be able to divide it by 40 exactly. Finally, is your total 80 like mine? If not, let's see why not. Okay, as I go through these questions, it's really important as the order that I carry out the operations. 12 add 1 is 13, subtract 8 is 5. The next one, 18 divided by 2 is 9, added 1 is 10. Well, that's really good and very fortunate because division always happens before addition and subtraction. So 10 is the right answer. With the next question, 6 multiplied by 4 is 24, subtract 20 is 4. That's good because multiplication always comes before addition and subtraction. With my next question, 10 add 4 divided by 2, I've got to remember that division always comes before adding and subtracting. I know that 4 divided by 2 is 2, so 10 add my answer of 2 is 12. In my next question, 1 multiplied by 3 is always the first to do before subtraction. So multiplication always happens before subtraction. I know that 1 times 3 is 3. So 5 subtract 3 is 2. In my next question, division always comes before addition and subtraction, and multiplication always comes before addition and subtraction. 30 divided by 3 is 10, and 1 multiplied by 2 is 2. 10 add 2 is 12. The next question's a little bit more tricky because I can see that I've got a division. And I know that 14 divided by 7 is 2. So I think what I'm going to do first, instead of finding the answer, I'm just going to write it out as 5 add 2 lots of, and then I'm going to get the answer to 14 divided by 7, which is 2. I now see that multiplying happens before addition, and I've got 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. Let me put that in a different colour. And 5 add 4 is 9. In my next question, I know that brackets always have to be calculated before any other operation. So 2 add 6 is 8. And I know that 3 multiplied by my answer of 8 is 24. In my next question, I know that I always have to do the most powerful thing first. So if I see a number that's raised to a power, I have to do that first. 2 squared means 2 multiplied by itself, which is 4. So I know that 1 add 4 is 5, subtract 3 is 2. They are all the correct answers, and if you add them up, their total should be 80. If you have a calculator, you could type in every single one of those questions to check if you get the same answers as me. If your calculator does not give the same answers as me, you've either made a mistake in typing in the calculation, or your calculator doesn't work as a scientific calculator should. So it's worth getting rid of that calculator, giving it to a small child to play with as a toy, and you get yourself a scientific calculator that follows these rules of the order of operations. So, the order of operations, which you might have come across before. We always do brackets first. Next, we do indices. Powers is the word that indices is equivalent to. So powers mean the same thing as indices. Division, then multiplication. Those can happen either way. And addition and subtraction, again, these can happen in either order. But BIDMAS is a really good way of remembering the order of operations. For example, if I gave you a question that said something like 3 subtract 1 times 2 add 4, I've just got to remember that if I go through BIDMAS, I can see that multiplying happens before addition and subtraction. So I've looked down my list and I can see that I have to multiply before I add or subtract. Addition and subtraction can be a little bit complicated depending on the order, so I would recommend you always work from left to right in the order that's given. So 3 subtract 2 is 1, and then I've got to add 4, and my answer is 5. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is I would like you to test your understanding of BIDMAS and have a go at these questions here. I think that you should make any notes that you want to on the other questions that we've done, and then pause the video and I will go through the answers. Okay. I'm going to go through the answers on this page here. Okay, so I'm going to write BIDMAS down to help me. BIDMAS, spelling it correctly, just to remind me the order of operations. Okay, I'm going to do multiplying first on the first one. 4 multiplied by 2 is 8, and 8 add 3 is 11. On my next one, division comes before subtraction. So 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 4 subtract 3 is 1. Looking at my next one, I've either got addition or multiplication. I can see that in BIDMAS, multiplication comes first. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 add 6 is 10. Part D. 15 divided by 3 comes before subtraction. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 20 subtract 5 is 15. I'm looking at E. I'm still going to write BIDMAS down the side so that you can see what I'm referring to. Okay, it's getting a little bit harder every time now. I know that I've got to divide before I multiply. Okay, 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. I'm then going to add my answers together to get 11. I have to do the brackets first, and then I'm going to need to multiply my answer by 5. So 3 add 4 is 7. 5 multiplied by 7 is 35, but I've still got to subtract 9, which is 26. Next, I've got to do indices first before I add. Powers are indices, the most powerful thing first. 2 squared is 4. 3 add 4 is 7. I've got to do my brackets first. They always have to be done first before anything else. This means 5 squared. 5 squared means 5 multiplied by 5 is 25. Scrolling down. Now with my next one, I've got to do the brackets first. But inside the brackets, I have to remember to multiply before I add or subtract. 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. 3 add 8 is 11. I've got to square 11, which means 11 times 11, which is 121. My next question. I've got to make sure that I do my indices first and then my multiplication before I add 3. I know that 2 squared is 4. Now I've got to do 3 add 4 multiplied by 4. So I'm going to do my multiplying first. 4 multiplied by 4 is 16. So I've got 3 add 16, which is 19. Okay. I've got to do my brackets first. I've then got to make sure I do my indices next. Then I need to make sure that I am multiplying before I add. So quite a lot to do there. So I've got 3 add 1 is 4, and I've got to square 4. And 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. So I'm going to work left to right. 4 squared means 4 multiplied by 4, which is 16. Add 10 is 26. My last one is all in brackets, but I notice that I've got to multiply before I add or subtract. In my brackets, I've got 3, add 1, add 2, lots of 5, which is 10. I've then got to square my brackets. 3 add 1 is 4, add 10 is 14, and 14 squared means 14 multiplied by itself, which is 196. That was how to do calculations, looking at the order of operations. I'm going to set you some written work on some sheets, and after that you'll find a Hegarty task testing your understanding. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck with the work.